This June 4th meeting for the Selectmen. Roll call, John Hotchkiss here.
Joe Bailey here.
John Mullen here.
Doesn't that sound nice? Three big kahunas sitting here all day.
Still two Johns.
Well, you could change your name and we could,
Did you change it to Jill?
No, 3 J's, I guess.
Okay, minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting, May 14th. Which I was
You were right
here.
here.
Yep. So
Alright.
I've seen it already.
I move that we accept the minutes as described.
I will second.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Minutes from the non-public Board of Selectmen meeting, same date, May 14th.
Oh, that's me.
Look, did I sign it or no?
You're all
You
three.
weren't here.
No, that's right, I can't. 14th?
No, he was here for
You
that
were-
one.
was here?
thought you
It's
did
the
that.
next
I mean,
one.
I left
The other one
next
said you didn't,
morning.
weren't, so
I wasn't here for that one. I thought those were the minutes from last meeting.
Those are the ones that are coming up next.
This one you weren't here. You weren't
You
here
were
for the
here,
little
Joe.
one.
You did.
Sign it
You're
anyway.
fine.
This one was a non-public we had that you weren't. You were here for
Is
this.
a motion to accept the
Oh,
minutes
yeah,
of the
okay,
non-public hearing dated May 14th?
So moved.
The second?
I'll second, but I'm staying.
You abstain, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so we got
Who's
it.
on first?
I'm not sure.
Next one is minutes from the public hearing of May 21st.
This is the one that
Yeah.
John was not at, so he can't. That's, you were here, public hearing.
Oh, yes, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, now I'm with you. Okay, I move that we accept the minutes of May 21st, 2018 as transcribed.
second. Okay, I'm gonna abstain from this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. All right, next, new part-time police officer approval.
Yep, I believe John Mullen has reviewed the file for Devin Pajo.
Yes.
So you guys just need to date it,
Do we need a motion or anything?
sign, yep, and then I will have him sworn in. I
Okay.
will have.
I make a
him sworn
motion
in.
that we accept the part-time officer, Devin Joe, as a part-time officer at Town of Middleton.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Where is he?
Everybody? Where is he? He's not being sworn in, it's just we have to approve
Yeah,
it.
he's working as a firefighter right now in Rochester, I believe, so. He's not available.
We'll meet him.
You guys will get to meet him. We'll get him in here for a
He
meeting.
used to be a fire chief at one, a few years ago.
Here?
So you've probably met him before.
Remember Devin?
What's his name again?
Devin
David
Pajo?
It's Rocky's son, my assistant.
Yeah.
Remember Sam Morrow who was here?
We
Yeah.
Sam took Devin's place because Devin moved on.
Joe Bailey seconded.
Okay. Devin,
Welcome back.
part-time police somewhere else?
He's part-time police officer in Milton currently.
Okay.
So
Welcome back.
Good, yep. All right.
You must have an awfully big hat racket, huh?
he's got a lot of jobs to do.
W-L-L-E-N-O-S.
On that, I mean, she had an I-N-S. I tried, at least get one letter right.
It's okay, I just,
I'll have her fix it.
let me know, I'll initial that, that I changed that.
Okay. This is Stratford Regional Commission appointment form. I think that's probably Stratford Regional Planning Commission appointment form.
Sure, we can go
That
with
sound
that.
right?
This is for you to rejoin,
Right?
so I need the board to appoint you. So you have to fill in your stuff here, and then they'll appoint you as the title of
Okay.
appointing officials.
Is there room for two? It's before,
I think Janet's still on there.
so on, so we're.
So you're on rotating years now,
Okay.
so you're not all falling off at the same.
So, you're gonna be even, she'll be on.
No, undoubtedly I'm the other one. All right, while I'm filling this out, the deed for, oh, do we need a motion?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess motion.
I'll make a
to-
I'll make a motion to reappoint John Hawkins to the Stratford Regional Planning Commission.
Second the motion.
Everybody knows what the Stratford Regional Planning Commission is?
Yes.
right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nope,
Aye,
not me.
good. So I'll, keep filling this out, and then the deed for 58 Eau Claire Road. I think this was,
That's me. So, it's a lot of typing. The 50 Eau Claire that we deeded has been repurchased from the prior owners. All the other paperwork has been signed, because I had to send some of it away to an out-of-stater. It's all come back, so now we just need to deed it back to them.
How much was owed on that, approximately?
Like 19 or 16, and they ended up paying the 10% penalty of another like 16,000 as well. It's all been paid in full, cashier's checks, so.
Wow,
Holy.
that's what goes to the
Yeah,
fund then.
yes.
So,
I have a couple more that we deeded that are looking to repurchase, but
so
I'm
basically, we
arguing
just
with
need a motion on this, or just sign it?
them. We just need to sign it, I already did all the paperwork. I'll have other paperwork for you guys to sign after when I get the book and page back that I sent to the state.
that was back, I think I keep this. Good? Alright, are we all caught up now?
Yep.
Go too fast. So good? DES,
Do you wanna talk
River-
about that?
Rivers.
What's that on there?
Management Protection Program.
Yeah. If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Please no?
Okay. The state has a rivers management protection program which manages a variety of rivers that have been designated by the legislature as protected rivers. Cocheco River is a protected river, which we flow into one way or the other. And DES was looking for up to 3 individuals interested in serving on the Cocheco River management program, and I volunteered for that, and I volunteered for it because I have dealt with all these issues on rivers and streams up at the State House for 6 years, so I know what those are all about, so I volunteered for that.
Thank you.
And again,
When you say they
Then
need
wasn't it me?
3 persons of what persuasion, location, et cetera.
What's that again?
You say they need 3 persons.
Up to 3.
That's 3.
So we can have it more, somebody else
No,
wants.
I'm just asking if persons of a particular town or.
Well, what they asked, yeah, of Middleton, and then they asked, what qualifications do you have that you feel would benefit yourself being on the commission? And I wrote that I was involved with the rivers and lakes in the capacity of vice chair of the committee that oversees that, and so forth and so on.
Does that paperwork give that information, criteria and all that?
Yeah.
If I can get a copy of that, I can put it into the newspaper.
I don't know if anybody else wants to join.
I can swim,
We'll float downstream,
that's right. With a digger too.
big one.
Got a duck one to it.
They meet about once a month. And they.
For an
The
hour.
rivers management. Well, no, it can be, an hour or 2. But they look at water quality issues, flow issues, environmental issues, habitat issues, that kind of stuff. And this was a letter from the commissioner, Roger Scott, which he signs every piece of communication that comes out of there, whether it's him or not. It doesn't. You just need a copy of the qualifications, is that what you wanted?
Is that this?
What they're looking for.
Okay.
Is that that?
No, right here. It said, please include a short description of your relevant background knowledge of local river-related issues or general river management and protection.
I'll copy.
So I put on here also as a co-sponsor of the new river, it was just recently designated in the legislature, Warner River up in Warner. So I was a co-sponsor on that legislation, so, and there's my,
Okay.
is that good enough?
I'll get a copy of it after. the
Just
meeting.
go ahead and zap it. Okay.
May I continue? Alright, no, I don't wanna.
No, I didn't wanna, I was,
Alright, fine. Evictions,
Okay, so, we gave out the eviction notices for June first, it's now after June first. So our next step is to go out and see if the people have left. I'm sure I can get the officers to help me with that. And if not, we submit the eviction notice to our attorneys and they submit it to the court. Is that what you want me to do moving forward?
yes.
I think there's only, two maybe left that haven't, just a few. One of them could be gone, I haven't been out.
these are, I mean, these are notices already been notified.
What's that?
May
Numerous
first
times.
we delivered
Might as
the
well,
evictions.
just in case.
And then I will put this one, we have a property that we took, just land, but there's a camper that's been newly mowed. So Officer Vogel's gonna go out with me this week and we're gonna post this on the trail of the camper. So it's the same thing we posted on that Leclerc one that we took that one time, so.
Where's this one?
This one's on 153.
Oh, easy to get.
Yeah, no, but it's really right on the, almost on the edge of the road, this camper. But somebody's been there, so I just want them to be aware that we now put this.
Thanks for mowing our lawn for us.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Makes it easier to sell.
Yeah, it's nice. actually.
Not everybody
It
does that.
so we'll go do that, and then I'll submit the others to,
So the evictions and stuff like that, these are the people we have worked with in the past and stuff like that, trying to make it, the payment arrangements and all that, right?
some of them, yeah.
Alright, so, alright.
Alright, next please, abatement.
This is just a piece of town-owned property, like Gwen didn't remember to check off when we ran the tax bill, so now she has to have it abated. Just an easy one.
As always, you folks are welcome to jump in. It looks like I'm going too fast.
Oh, it's an oops.
Oops.
We need to make a motion, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Wasn't
All right, I make a motion that we approve the abatement of map 016-055, owners, town of Middleton, as transcribed by the
Tax collector.
tax collector dated June 4th, 2017.
Is there a second?
Yeah, second, sorry.
All in favor?
A little bit.
Aye.
It's okay.
I'm looking at the thing on the back, said, oops, and you were talking about.
It's a oops. I don't like oops. Uh-oh's the ones I don't like. Uh-oh.
You ever watched the show Independence Day with Will Smith and stuff like that, and you got the alien ship and he backs up, whoops. No, whoops, no whoops.
Okay. If there's no other signature items, move on please. Old business, Stony Bridge, environmental contract.
Yep, this is the one from Roger from, he brought this to the public hearing, but they didn't want to do it because it wasn't a board meeting. This is for the cemetery, dirt testing.
That's when you and I went out on, they wanted to hang on. to it.
Did we, if I may,
Yeah.
did we resolve the retainer amount?
You were supposed to find me.
Oh, I was supposed to call?
Yeah,
I did not call.
you said, I'll find out how much that is.
Yeah, I've been trying to find out how much.
Well, the retainer not to exceed $450.
See, that's what's on there now?
No,
Oh, okay.
but there's no amount on here, so.
They want to retire, but they didn't give us amount of the
They didn't give
retainer, the
amount,
whole
so-
job's $450, so this,
Yep.
we can just pay for it and they owe us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would, yeah, that's what I would,
And that comes out of the cemetery fund money, so I make a motion.
go ahead.
Make a motion that we go ahead and accept the Stony Ridge environmental proposal for $450 to do the test pits at the land located on,
That's not
Durham
test
Road?
pits, that's, soil.
Alright,
Okay.
this is the step before test pits.
Before the
Right.
test pits.
Okay.
Right.
Not to include the $450,
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
not to exceed that one. I mean, yeah, not including mileage. So I would read that, times it, so. You got the gist of it, right, Laura?
Yeah.
Okay. Thought you did.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, everybody knows where we're talking about as a possible site for the cemetery. When I was away, you drive by once in a while, it looks like it's pretty dry, it might be wet today, but in general, it's.
You sure?
Just a short.
Alright,
We're good.
we're all in favor?
Yeah, aye.
You think we have problems? I just spent 2 weeks in California visiting my wife Janet's relatives, nice time.
Where?
Near San Francisco.
Yeah.
Where a while ago, to make room for more humans, they moved an entire cemetery. We're not talking about little ones around here, hundreds and hundreds of bodies in that cemetery. They moved it. I guess if the place is big enough, you can do that.
And if you have the support, the government and the people. Or eminent domain.
Yeah, that's all,
Well, been done before.
Technology update.
Oh, here's a good one. Okay, so certified computers have been in. They were in 2 full days last week and they worked remotely Friday all day. They ran into a lot of snags switching over from Armon to us networks. We had no phones for a couple days. We had barely any computers for a couple days. It was rough. So they're looking at our server, which we bought in, I believe, 14. It's got a 10-month left lifespan on it, but
what?
a 10-month before it expires. But no, hold on, it gets better. Remember the Dado program I had with the email that they wanted us to buy for $950? I'm going to eliminate that for nothing. I'm not going to pay anything. They don't feel comfortable with the server. The server they say that Armon purchased for us literally is not to provide security for all of us. It's basically for like 1 or 2 stations. So with it, they think it could crash and we could lose everything, they're going to give us a loaner one for nothing. So while we're with them, we'll just
That
have a
will cover
loaner.
everything that needs to be covered?
Yep, they're hoping to, there's a whole email that you guys can read later. They don't do the VMware, so that license will expire on ours, so they don't know what to do about that. The domain that we have, there's an issue. She thinks that we should have a local, so there's only internal access, not external access for more security. She's hoping that she can get the PD away from Stratford and back onto ours, so when they do have the issues, it's not as time consuming to get them fixed and going through multiple people to have that done. And they'll still have their own security. So, I mean, there's a whole email. I mean, I don't see, it's a better deal than $1,000 for that Dado program, which was just a program. You know, they did fix our network. My thing's working, Kathy's working fine. We have our phones back.
How are you guys working downstairs, okay?
Yeah, so far seems good. It's a little early to really tell, but
Yeah, a lot of the things that they were gonna do, they couldn't do yet because of all the problems we had. Like, in there are a few days that they were here, they were gonna do our email, and they can't do those because of these, they wanna get these issues resolved first. They're also gonna make changes, like Kathleen still works under Debbie, Gwen still works under Pam's name, you know, things like that, so it can, and we'll have like one network, we're all combined, so if I scan something I want everybody to see, we'll have a general place.
I think all these, first of all, security is prime. Absolutely above everything else. As far as I'm concerned. As far as the domain is concerned, I would let them recommend, they say .local, that's fine. Town employees, the problem we've had that I remember, even working the planning board, because that planning board up there is still running off Linda Adamo's password. It was difficult to get the password changed. The reason it was difficult is a lot of us know how to operate a computer and go to Word and all that kind of stuff. We start going into settings, we all get a little nervous, I do. We're gonna hit the wrong button and we delete something or we can't set something. So my experience up at the planning board, and this is recent, was that it was a bit of a challenge And we don't need to come running to you all the time, but it was a bit of a challenge to get the password. So if it makes it easier to change all of the passwords and start fresh and make it easier, that would be better, a lot better. And back up so the system doesn't crash, particularly the police department. We don't want them crashing. We can crash, but we don't want to crash. Clean up the file structure. Absolutely, they were looking at adding a PD to town hall network. I don't know one way or the other whether that's good or bad. I don't know, you have a separate system that, but I know when you've been down, you gotta call Stratford or whatever, and they gotta, whatever it is. I think it's, now what is this all costing? What is this all costing?
This is all included in our contract.
Yeah,
there is no cost of a new server, there's no Dado Now program,
So
and
what
I
happens to
question
the
that.
services out there now?
We'll just put it upstairs, they're not gonna take it. They don't, but I mean, it's gonna expire in 10 months, so I mean,
Yeah, but
We have metal pickup in the summertime.
we should put a list of this stuff together and see if, put it out to these geek people and see if anyone wants to buy it, because they can go in there and get new licenses, probably a heck of a lot cheaper than we
Well,
can
you
do
want-
it,
you
and they may want that kind of
you
stuff.
wanna clear it though.
yeah.
You wanna
we've
clear
done
it.
that for-
Exactly, I mean,
Yeah,
that'd be,
maybe
something.
they can clear it, we can certainly
I can ask that.
ask that. But remember,
Can we just put a call into Hillary Clinton about bleach bed or something? She knows what this stuff is.
remember,
That's all I care.
electronic equipment changes every 18 months. It literally is obsolete in 18 months. So leasing or getting it free is good, because if that server goes down, that they're giving us, they come in and.
They fix it, right. This one, they didn't feel, which she said from the beginning, this is not new, that she didn't feel comfortable, servicing that server with the way that it is.
This question is for any of you that know more about technology than I do. Folks in the audience.
It's everybody in here.
That's everybody.
That's all right, John.
Because you have a foot on stuff.
That's right, I do, wanna see it? So, it's been my impression since sitting on the board that we have had problem after problem after problem with technology. Can anyone assure me that this is the light at the end of the tunnel? No.
We had the same thing when we sat on it, I don't care how far back you go.
See, I think the biggest problem we've had over the year, we depended on people in-house to guide us in certain areas of how to take care of this. That instead of just having one company come in and just say, hey,
Well, we made a leap forward when we were on the board, when we had Bay Ring, that was a leap forward to us to get a uniform phone system.
Right.
And the problem with the small institution that we are, we don't have a lot of people that are tech savvy. I mean, we can all navigate around, and Laura can navigate around and everything else, but when you start getting into servers and network, that's a whole different ballgame. So then we also, it's not cheap.
And we
It
try
is-
to watch.
We try to be as frugal as we can. Thank you very much, Roger.
You're welcome.
As we can, because when we had Bay Ring came in here, then we rewired the whole place. Remember Claire came
Yes,
in?
We did,
And she put in all the outlets and everything else, and that cost a little bit of money. So we've done it piecemeal. So, and having Armor on, I mean, that was a choice by the board based on the facts at the time, and they, sometimes the technology, Bay Ring is kind of gone by I don't know where the heck they are,
it's called Light Source now.
Light Source, and they don't even wanna deal with us, I don't think. Maybe they do, but
Does this eliminate them too?
No,
no,
they're still our phone company.
they're still.
I mean, the only thing I can say about this new company is they have made comments about, well, if they did their job right, they'd be here less. So I mean, little things like that. The other day I was down before they were supposed to be servicing us, and they literally fixed me because they couldn't believe how long I'd been waiting for Armand to call me back. So he went in there, just fixed it, and goes, go to work. Like, I mean, they didn't have to. I mean, so far it hasn't been bad, they've been responsive.
So,
But like I said, we only signed a year because we got stiffed on the last 3 year one. So,
Roxanne, in your line of work, is this common? In your business, you see this computer problems,
Yeah, well, I
technology,
mean,
they change them.
yeah, I can tell you right now, like what my former company purchases, when we order a computer, it's already kind of out of date, the platforms that they work on.
Right.
So, yeah, they're never on the cutting edge. Most companies aren't, unless you're probably a computer company, you know, technology company, but yeah.
Or you had the resources to buy the leading technology, you're kinda like one step behind.
It's like
Well,
this
but Liberty
printer,
never did.
printer
I
over
mean,
here, we
they
bought that,
rely
that's
on
supposed to be
technology a
the
lot.
best thing since sliced bread, that's already out of date,
So,
yeah.
I mean, you can go out to a store, like I can go buy a personal computer, it would be ahead of what I would have, you know, what Liberty is, what Liberty allows you to purchase through the company,
Yeah.
you know, for work. Yeah.
But
Alright,
if you,
so I feel
yeah.
better.
If you look at your own home thing today now though, everything is, you have your mini router, you have your mini server in your house, then you have Wi-Fi, then you have Wi-Fi extenders, now you have mesh, which is, and it's getting very complicated to keep all your devices going, and you wanna stream with your TV, and you don't have a cable, what the heck, you know, it gets.
I agree.
So imagine networking, you need somebody who really knows what they're doing.
Right.
When I pick up the phone, crank it for Mabel,
Yeah.
she's not always there.
That's right.
She's getting older, she's
When
taking time off.
When you were in the service, they used the old cup and the line.
right,
Yeah,
Called sound powered phones, you're right.
yeah.
So I think it's good.
But still, you still use typewriters, then all of a sudden they put all that new stuff on board the ship.
Right.
And then that stuff went by the wayside within a couple of years, and they
Yeah.
put new stuff on board the ship. So,
So you feel very comfortable, Laura, that the company that we're working with?
So far, so good, yeah.
Okay. Their leaps and bounds are above R1, and they're slightly more annually than what R1 was to do this.
Yeah, but not much more,
I mean,
but,
it's compatible to the point where, you know.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I email her, she emails me back within, 15 minutes, I usually get an email.
Alright.
great.
I call, she answers, I mean,
Oh, that's even better.
she actually answers the phone, I'm like,
So
yeah.
we take that old server out and stuff like that, I just think we ought to probably sit there and get it cleaned up.
I'll ask her
to-
what to do with it,
If
yeah.
not that, maybe try to sell the damn thing, get rid of it. I mean, that was a $10,000 nut.
It was a lot for the little time in it, yeah.
So-
And to find out that it really is only supposed to service like one or two, like, service centers instead of the whole building was devastating.
But we were
to be
sold that
honest.
we're supposed to take care of everything.
Yeah,
We sold a bill of goods, we didn't know any about it.
I mean, she showed me, like, it's almost full. And I'm like, full of what? Like, I think I'm the only one that saves to it, to be honest, like,
Nice.
I
So
don't know.
are we gonna be doing cloud services and stuff like that now, or no?
You will eventually get into that, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll have the new email, the new computers will be ordered, like, all of that.
That's,
This just was our holdup.
if you have the right systems, that's pretty safe.
Yeah.
Alright. Next topic, Old Town Hall kitchen update. I've been gone for 2 weeks, and oh my word, what happened to the kitchen?
Get that cleaned
Okay.
out.
Hey, did the stove get moved?
Dude, there,
Up to the
4
floor?
people right there, and there's probably more.
Yeah.
Two people.
So, yeah, I'd like an update from somebody that has done all that work.
Let John,
Let
Well,
us know what's happening.
we had a couple, demolition days,
yes, we did.
which were good. We got a lot of the cabinets out, not all of them. We had the stove moved, out, we disconnected the stove, we moved that out. So basically what we have done is we have gutted that kitchen right down to the log studs. If you go in there now, you'll see all the framing, all that, and I gotta take a picture of it, but the studs are 2 by 3 logs that were just milled, sawn, and stuck up.
Bark's still on some of it,
Yes.
yeah.
So, the intent is, couple things, we had the electrician come in today, and we have a plan on terms of what to do with the electrical for the kitchen. And what we're going to do is we're gonna add a sub panel in the kitchen to handle, any additional, power that we need. We have sufficient power at the box to do it. So that's what we're gonna do, plus run the air conditioner, so we have to do some coordination. The general contract, or the carpenter, I don't know, what do we call him, the general contractor?
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a
the
contractor.
contractor. We're gonna have to do some coordination with the electrician when the floor comes up. The floorboards there, the subflooring is pretty bad. I took up some of the maple flooring probably 2 feet along the edge of the wall, and it's, no wonder it bounces, and the boards are pretty bad, so I'm glad that we're gonna replace that. We removed all the shiplap. There was old shiplap, 1 inch thick, either anywhere from 10 up to 15, 16 inch wide old shiplap, 1 inch thick. And we took all that off as best we could without trying to break it and everything else. So we saved quite a few pieces. We put them out back. We'll try to find a buyer at some of these restoration places or something if they'll buy it. We also saved all of the beadboard that was around the entire, not all of it because some of it had glue on it. But we probably have 60 pieces that are 34 inches long that could be salvaged if somebody wanted to use it. We'll try to get rid of that.
Does it match what's in the town hall?
There are some in the town hall, but we don't need any of it. No, it's actually just varnished. So you would have to clean it up. We have no use for it.
I'm just thinking if there would be any potential for future damage or, something in the town.
I'll look at that, but I doubt that. We ripped off all the plastic that was on there. We ripped off the wall board. Where the baseboard, where the beadboard was up about 3 feet, 4 feet, maybe 4 feet probably, was blown in insulation. We took the beadboard, we took the shiplap off, took all the insulation. There was blown in woolen insulation that had all kinds of little animal feces everywhere, nests of all sorts of kinds. They had regular foil back, paper back insulation that was in the upper walls. We've gotten rid of all that. What we plan to do is we're going to ask our carpenter when he starts to put the walls up that we put them up with 2x6s to make the wall 2x6. You can toe-nail them or nail them to the existing studs that are there, so we have a 6-inch wall. What that does is 2 things. It gives room for our electrician. He doesn't have to go up above to drop his lines down. He can just do like you would do in a normal building, go around the perimeter. We'll have 6 inches of insulation. Insulation in older buildings, though, is not as important as insulating a ceiling or where the attic is. So one of the things we'll have to do, and we have, is all the fixtures are in and everything else, have to get up there and put another layer of insulation. That'll stop a lot of heat. But that building, that kitchen was pretty well insulated, really, when you think about it. Well, it never had heat out there. Never had heat. Now it has heat. So I'm very confident talking with Jim Knapp, who is going to do the electrical work. We had some great ideas. We had some lighting ideas that were very inexpensive to do. John and I talked about trying to keep the same motif that we have in the main hall with those type of lights, that we put them in the kitchen. Put some task lights around. Everything's LED. Everything's going to be LED.
I just want to make sure people understand, if you go in the kitchen now, there's lighting there. We did not buy that lighting. That was moved from the main hall to the kitchen. So when John talks about buying lighting, it's the first time. It's not like we're buying it a second time, all right?
Yeah, they're fixtures just like this.
Yeah, they don't go to the rest of the town hall at all.
And there won't be, where the storage areas are gonna be, there's lamps already, we'll just leave those there, that's fine. But in the main kitchen area, I think it would be appropriate to have proper lighting in there, particularly on the task areas over the sinks, some of the countertops. I'm gonna propose that we light the hood underneath the stove, hook that up. Maybe put where the movable table, the stainless steel table is gonna be kind of in the center of the kitchen. You know, the big lamps that we have in the hallway. We can up the wattage on the lamps in there. Those are 75 watt in there. We can up them to 100 watt in there. 100 watt equivalent. But those are LED bulbs in there. in those globes, so you can up the wattage. So, I think what we have to do now is get Mr. Gregory in there to start ripping the floor up and get going.
Interesting comment about the floor. Once you take the wall off, John started to take some of the maple flooring up. He took out enough pieces so maybe this much of a strip. Underneath it is not what you and I would call a true subfloor. 4x8 sheets of plywood Atlantic. It's boards. The ends of the boards that are resting on the sill have rotted to the extent that on any given board, part of it's already missing. So when you take the maple flooring up, it is really dangerous to even walk on that, so.
Yeah. Now, there is, when they jacked up that part of the building, that's an all brand new foundation all the way around that kitchen with a new sill, and then I think it's a 6x6 post that runs underneath all that stuff was dropped back down on that. So it's solid as a rock. There's no rot, there's no air getting in there, no places for little animals to crawl in or anything like that, so pretty tight.
I'm very impressed that it's gone this far. I've already put in a phone call to Doug Gregory, letting him know we're ready for him. Called Jim Knapp, the electrician, he came by already. I wanna have the two of them, Doug Gregory and Jim Knapp, talk to each other. Joe, you'd be involved in doing something with the propane at some point,
Propane and the AC part of it.
right? Okay. I'm going to recommend, I haven't talked with you yet, Joe, so you can say yes or no, but I recommend John Mullen be our representative to finish coordinating this whole effort. He's done such a great
Oh,
job.
I
on
agree
it.
with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I accept it anyway.
Yeah, you're it.
So that would work very well.
Done all the rest, might as well finish it.
Right, you stand over there and you look at what's been done in the main hall,
I know.
and you say, boy, we should not have ever just left it as is. So I'm proud that the town voted to put the money in to get it done. All right?
Yeah, okay.
All right?
When we get to it. Good.
All right, I have a couple other topics under old business. In my absence, I'm pleased to announce that the Lakeland Association property, Sunrise Lakeland, is, apparently you had your second public hearing. It's all done. We've passed the deeds so that they now go back where they're supposed to be. The town no longer owns it. Is that a correct statement, Laura?
Yep.
So thank you too for getting that done and off the books. Two small topics. With John Mullen on board now, we've looked at the board assigned duties. I'm gonna read these off to see if anybody has any concerns. I remain as chair, Joe Bailey is vice chair, and John is member.
At large or whatever it is.
Planning board is still Joe Bailey. School board is still me. Highway department is not John Mullen. Am I going too fast? I'm sorry. The planning board is Joe
No,
Bailey.
she should.
So, okay, planning board, then what was it, school?
School is
board.
me, the same.
Okay,
Highway department is now John Mullen.
okay,
Budget committee is still Joe Bailey.
yeah,
Zoning board is still me.
Mhm.
Cemetery is still me, cemetery committee.
mhm,
The joint loss management committee is John Mullen.
mhm.
Fire department is Joe Bailey. You know, if it's quicker, you can just put the letter J down, you'd be all right with all of this.
I got it. You'll have to know who's doing.
Police department is Joe Bailey. Conservation is John Mullen. Okay?
Okay.
All right, one other thing, as a result of my visit to California. As an adult, I've always kind of figured that new stuff in this country starts in California, goes across the country, and we up here in little old New Hampshire kind of get it last. Reading the paper out there, hot topic in the San Francisco area is ADUs, accessory dwelling units. Town of Middleton voted on that a couple of years ago, I think now, and they're just now talking about, they call them granny units out there, but it's the same thing, okay? Apparently, they feel the need, the same argument that we used here is being used out there.
I need the money because the real estate costs and the taxes, everything else are going so high.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so that's it for my small pieces. Anything else for old business?
Cemetery?
I miss cemetery, I'm sorry. We kinda talked about it already, but if there's anything like that for cemetery,
No, we just get her in here, get that
right?
plan done out, and then you and I will go on from there and bring it to the,
Yeah,
you know, well, you, I, and the cemetery.
right. Okay, anything else? Old business?
I,
Yep, go ahead.
I think, the,
Come on in.
are you looking for a check?
No,
Oh,
I hate to interrupt anything. Can I talk to you just for a minute? Everything's fine, but can I talk to you for a minute?
One,
Second?
Oh, just give me a second.
take a short recess.
Sure, just for 1 second.
And don't worry, when you're gone, we'll talk about you.
Okay, that's all right, as long as it's good.
That's all right.
Speaking of which, I'll
She's
bet
got
we
the
had
thing
a
up
black
anyway.
bear in our backyard last
Oh,
night.
my word!
Yeah. Chicken
Well,
feed
you're
was
even
like
commission
300
anyway.
pounds. Saturday morning, we had deer in my front yard.
Oh, jeez.
Not bad, huh?
Wow.
I'm amazed. Just
Uh,
a few months.
Well, the reason why he was in the backyard is
So is
because we had Jim has
Classy
bird
looking
feeders out
Yeah.
there. And she knocked
this-
them down and.
Basically, I'm not gonna be able to do it.
But we did get a glimpse
If
of
Laura
my
can't do
son.
it, then John
He
said
took a
so.
picture of
I have
it.
to
I was
notify
like,
about-
thank you. He went in the
We'll find out
house
for sure
and,
who's going to do it.
we got out in time
That's
to
okay,
see him
thank
walking
you.
across that road that goes up
I have
back.
two
And
letters.
saw him
One of
going
these two
into
letters
the
to
woods.
use for
Yeah,
getting to
big-
her
it was
along
big
with the
bear.
certificate.
Okay.
Now, Roxanne, I think I know the answer. The chief's here, so I'll kind of ask you. Roxanne, if you have a problem with bear, who do you call?
Tuition only, that's
I
the
would
thing.
call-
I think they should use it, but I didn't
Fish
use
and
it.
So then it would be-
That's correct, fish and
That's
game.
correct, yeah.
It's not you. Okay.
Yeah, it would be the
If
first.
it- if it's an emergency situation, we should be involved, but.
In general,
So-
removing
Yeah, if
bears.
he's drooling at the mouth, then.
And I copied the same sentence
But
twice.
I mean,
This is
I'm
just
sure
a
that
draft.
probably the first
Yeah.
response would be, someone would say police, but
So,
it should be fish.
and we're
and
Yeah,
game.
using this
fishing
letter
game,
then,
sure.
You got it right? Good.
wanna put it extra.
I only probably can answer
I'll
that
put
because
that
I
on
live in a
town
house
letter.
with hunters, so.
Yeah, we can.
hunters
If
are
the
fishing.
bear is already in the house, that might be a call.
Then you can call us.
Right.
Well, I.
We'll get this one
I
as well.
I wouldn't have
And I
service
can
because we
print
don't
up
have
as
very
many
good
of those
service
as you
right
want.
there in that
Just
row.
to-
of
Okay.
the south.
One's
I don't
fine.
know how I'm gonna
So
call
Laura,
anybody.
Thursday night, you think
Hopefully
you
by
can do
fall,
that?
we will have service in that little belly down there.
Yeah.
So that's sitting, the letters will be underneath of it.
I'll email you
Well,
the copy.
And
Other
I'm
than
thinking,
the-
I'm thinking of a
Cool.
couple, keep
And you'll have a
things
check
going
there.
on in the union where they
You won't need
have
that yet.
traffic patrol
The
down
check
there
isn't
for the
until
little
end of the
concert
first
on Monday
semester.
night, so there's quite a few cars down there.
Good deal.
Carrie, sorry, go ahead.
But pretty
Okay,
bad.
ready to go back?
It's not much except woods.
Okay.
Right.
Old business, I think my first meeting here, I talked about the 15-year stewardship agreement that we have to do with the L-chip grant on the building over there. If you haven't had a chance, read this again, but I just want to run through some quick highlights here, and it's not really complicated. And so what this does is just tells L-chip, rides L-chip with what we will do with that building and keep it up to what it is, basically, is what we're agreed to. There's a lot of legal stuff in here, but what it really says is Middleton will retain and maintain in substantially their current or better condition for conservation preservation purposes through the term of this stewardship agreement. Basically, and they come around once a year to inspect. There's a process, if you fail and you don't do what they ask you to do, they can take the money back, blah, 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 but that won't happen. It talks about here, if we ever sold the property, gave the property to a nonprofit, there's all kinds of what you gotta do.
Pay all the money.
There's just how you transfer it per the statute and so forth, you transfer the agreement, blah, 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 blah.
And what property we talked about?
The old town hall.
The old town hall, I'm sorry. when you receive an L-chip grant for a historic structure, the institution that gets the grant must sign with the state a 15-year stewardship agreement. Basically what it's saying, we've invested X number of dollars in here, we
Now you
want.
better take care of it or
we-
else.
Thank you, yes, that's really what it says. We're not ready to sign this yet, but they have to, there's documents that will go along with it, which is the assessment and so forth. But if there's anything else in there, talked about insurance costs. They wanted to make sure that, in here it talks about replacement costs for that building. We have sufficient insurance, as I had Laura check with our carrier, that is more than sufficient to, whatever it is, replacement cost.
Right.
It's over $700,000 for that building. And what they say in here about if there's a catastrophe, let's say there's a fire, and it goes up in smoke and totally destroyed, what they want you to try to do is replicate. It would be very difficult to replicate the murals in the chapel,
Oh, yeah.
almost impossible. But that's what they want you to do, so that's part of the agreement.
I question replicating too.
Well, we've questioned replicate, maybe not, use old beams, but I mean, if you, I visited Montpelier in Virginia, which is where Madison, President Madison was.
Was he there when you visited or no?
Huh?
Was he there when you visited?
No, he had
Okay.
passed away. Passed away the same day, I think they passed on the same day as Jefferson, because they were buddies.
July 4th.
So anyway,
1825.
Montpelier, which is where, Monticello, which is where Jefferson is a total restoration project. Montpelier is a renovation. So I'm walking through this building and I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, hey, how come all these windows and doors are square? I asked the guy and she says, well, this was a renovation, this was not a restoration. So basically they gutted the building, straightened it out, steel structure, all kinds of stuff. And they did replicate furniture, their reproductions, old wallpaper was reproduced and so forth and so on. Plaster was done the old way, that kind of stuff. So that's what they would be talking about. So I highlighted things in here, I can leave this on your desk that I highlighted that I thought might be important. Recipient reserves right to permit archaeological investigations if they want. If we dig up something, we find a pot there, we gotta call. No, I'm serious.
Mike,
Call
we
them
can
over,
do
get
a
your seconds
parking
in the dumpster.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Signage, we do get a sign, we gotta have a sign up there. It says, this building was preserved by the state and L-chip, and I've seen them there. They're nice aluminum signs, just stick up. So, I would, when we're ready for this to be signed, I'll leave this on the desk if you want to, those are the ones that highlight, the rest of the stuff is just kind of legal stuff. Okay. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Any other old business? New business? Is it Noblest Engineering request?
Yep. So we got this.
They like to build a new town hall.
They wanna test our water, and they just need approval. Anybody ever heard of Novus?
Why do they wanna test out?
Well,
There was
here's,
something from we did a year or two ago.
Okay.
Tested all the water.
oh yeah, they went
There's a
around and
volunteer
they went
form.
around and volunteered to test they had a program, DES has a program of testing groundwater, well water, for contaminants.
It's still available for free. We picked it up at the New Hampshire, Wild New Hampshire. They're handing out the kits, it's free.
The kits are free, but the testing isn't.
For the contaminants, it is.
If you're found to have contaminants, but how are you gonna find out if you have contaminants if you don't test first?
That's what they're gonna
It's a
do.
separate test.
This is the ones that volunteered for that, correct? Yes, okay, yeah.
They're doing
So-
ours Friday.
What's that?
They're doing ours Friday.
We're having the complete test, which does cost, but the contaminant test is free.
Yeah, okay. So Novus Engineering is work on behalf of the Department of Environmental Service requests access to your property to complete a water supply sampling. Water supply sampling is part of the regional water quality assessment of the areas by DES. This was one of those areas. I can tell you, based on what I know about water quality and what DES is doing, because I've been quite involved with the contaminants that are happening in Merrimack and down in Hampton and Coakley landfill, and I'm the chair of the commission of Seacoast Drinking Water Goals and Recommendations, and contaminants coming in there. Natural contaminants in our water here are radon and arsenic. And we have the highest concentrations of arsenic per capita than any other state. And we're right in the middle of it right here. Arsenic is bad. Radon can be treated, arsenic can be treated too. But it's a natural occurring item. Contaminants from chemical use probably are in the groundwater, in the aquifers. They've also detected in New Hampshire aquifers opioids, traces. That's because people are flushing them down their septic systems. You know, 75%. Yep, and it leaches. No, it's coming in. It leaches into the groundwater, and they are detecting finite amounts of it. DES has been under a tremendous amount of pressure, particularly when Pease showed up with the contaminants, and then
Litchfield?
Litchfield, where the Teflon people were across the maker of whatever they name it. So DES is under a tremendous amount of pressure to test, verify, notify, cure. So this is part of that program to do it, and I would, you know, they're doing what they're supposed to do, come in and test the water. So
Can anyone get involved with it, like you folks?
Yeah.
they're involved. I was gonna sign up and I forgot to sign up, so
Simple phone call.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd be interested.
Yeah, I have the water, I was gonna have mine tested, just test it anyway, take it up to DES and have it tested. I'll talk to you
I
about
don't have to worry about it, we gotta do his hours every year now for
Yeah,
Tammy's daycare, so we know what hours it
it.
is.
Yeah, well,
If
you
you call
would,
them
yeah.
out, if you call them out to do the
Who do you call?
DES, we have the number at home, it's not DES though, is it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, if you call them out to do the contaminant test, and you already have the kit for the water testing, you can give them the kit, they will take the samples for you, the way they're supposed to be taken, and they will take the kit, and you don't have to pay the shipping or whatever charges for it, and it's, I think, a total of $75 for the complete.
85.
No, 75. Well,
75.
see, they want a $75 check, I guess they're gonna get it.
Didn't we just
Whatever.
do this?
Yeah, you did.
We just did this for both
Right.
buildings,
Yeah,
okay.
but I would-
So I'm not on another page.
For
Well,
home-
this
Well, that's
doesn't
for-
cost us
that's for the
anything,
private
I would
testing.
say go ahead and do it. Yeah.
That's for the private testing of your water.
Right.
The testing for the contaminants is free.
Oh, okay, because
So you had just that
I'm testing for everything.
Yeah, well, if you test for
And
everything,
that-
like I
and
say,
that-
it's two separate
Yeah,
tests.
I can get the bottle. All they want you to do when you do the water is take your strainers off your spigot, run your water for 20 minutes. That's to make sure you get down to the well level instead of residual in the pipe. Fill your bottles, make sure there's no bubble in them, and you take them in.
But the nice thing is, if you call them out to do the contaminant testing and you have the kit, they will take the samples the way they're supposed to be taken. You don't have to pay the shipping, and for a homeowner, it's $75 and you're done. And it's a complete water test for everything in it, plus the contaminant testing, which are two separate tests.
You can get a lot of that information on the website under water management, I believe. It's there. Okay.
Next time, go to Wild, New Hampshire, and get everything all, everyone else with.
So we just complete that and let them take our water. They
yeah.
did it last time, I
Well,
remember.
that ain't sure what.
Wild, New Hampshire, they have it once a year.
But it's spelled out in New
This is
Hampshire.
a separate company doing
Yeah.
contract with DES.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, sounds good.
We have to fill out that questionnaire and then
Okay.
have the Department of Public Works fill this out. So we don't have a Department of Public Works.
We know. So I
You're
guess
the
that's,
public works, right?
Lamone.
Well, yeah, he's the health officer, absolutely.
I probably can copy the last one I did.
All right, I'll be careful in pronouncing this correctly. Four-wheeler access, Mount Jesse.
Why, did you say it wrong?
Well, I could say four wheelchair.
Oh,
I don't think you're talking wheelchair
no.
access.
So there was a resident here the other day that wants permission from the board to ride their four wheels on Mount Jesse.
Well, unfortunately, we don't own Mount Jesse. We have property on Mount Jesse.
Yeah, that
and
property.
We can allow, depending on the board like that, access to that only.
Yeah. It's the town per parcel that she wants to ride on.
The town partial.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any trails existing there now?
Is this the piece of property that the gentleman's?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, then there'd be trails up there,
I'm being brain dead. I'm thinking down here, Piper Mountain, not Mount Jesse.
Blueberry
Yeah, I know.
I would,
Once you open it up to that, you're,
I would like, even though the Conservation Commission is one person, I would like that to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Just go through the Conservation Commission and have them address it. Also, maybe the planning board in terms of checking, of course, the Conservation Commission do that, if there are any restrictions on doing that. Because that can't, I don't have anything against OHRVs, but they can have an environmental impact, without question. But if they're done right, they're fine. They're a little more hard on the environment than snowmobiles. They're no less noisier though. And so Blueberry Hill is quite a habitat up there for not only animals but blueberries, right?
yeah. I think
Loaded.
I think Corey Eastman's the only one that he picks his piece of property, but they're not picking anywhere else up there.
Yeah, but
So, which is unfortunate because,
yeah,
A lot of that property up there, the Blueberry Mansion, is owned by the town now. That's all.
right, that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna tell you right now, that's a heck of a commercial industry shit,
Right.
because there's a lot of
That
blueberry
was,
beer
that was
there. A
formerly,
lot.
used to be owned by my uncle, that's how I know the piece of property, and it's all grown up now. A lot of
I
it's-
would like the conservation, I would like to have them review that. Not me, I mean, my suggestion would be to have the conservation review that request.
No, that is you.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I'm at large, but I'm not the chair.
Is there a chair?
Yeah, well,
No.
there isn't a chair. It's Carol Vita, the only one on it.
Could be, no, Tom Gardner's on it.
No, I don't
No,
think
he's
so.
gone, he's off.
He's on that.
He's not gone,
It's
but
coming
he's
back to you guys, oh, coming back to you.
trying to get away from this stuff and I'm getting hooked.
So you're suggesting to the conservation and then planning?
Coordination between the two. I mean, we can check out if there are any regulations. We can also check state regulations in terms of, what you can do and what you can't do on a piece of property, particularly trails.
Curiosity thing, are we allowing snowmobiles up there on those trails on town-owned property?
I don't know.
If they are, I mean, we gotta be very careful. If we allow one, we'll not allow something else if that's the way
Well,
it
that was
goes.
something the Conservation Commission could do,
Right.
and that doesn't necessarily work that way though. There are two different impacts on the environment.
Couple of questions. First, if we allow it there, does it mean we have to allow it on all town-owned property?
No.
Case by case,
Designated areas.
thinking Tanglewood.
Designated areas, I think.
I would say no.
Second, I think Chief will have the right answer. Who enforces ATV and snowmobile trails?
Fishing game.
Fishing game.
Yahoo!
But it is something to consider, like if there's an accident or something, your fire department's gonna have
Right.
to respond up there, and I don't know what the access is up there for them to get up there to handle it.
We can get them to look at.
There's two access points, one up on the peak.
Yeah, you can get a four-wheel drive truck up through there.
Yeah, we've gone all the way, didn't you go up there once?
Oh, yeah. Tim and I.
You went up there once. We've been up there way to the circle.
Yeah,
We didn't drive around the circle, we just stopped at the circle, and then we walked around getting eaten by mosquitoes, but that's at the, that was a long time
that
ago.
was just up there last year, at the very top of it. We took the, tote road up through in a four-wheel drive.
It's a pretty cool area.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like I said, it's all grown up.
Are there snowmobile trails up there?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Are they the ones that connect, that go through the Moose Mountains?
probably.
And go all the way to
I don't know.
Rochester.
I've been on it.
yeah, not sure, no, the one that comes up from Rochester goes up Route, it goes, well, but I suppose you could probably cuts over, but it goes up Route 11.
When I was up there,
Because
like that, you could go
there's a
from,
trail that goes through the Moose Mountains.
Yeah,
yes.
And it's always been there, so they left it
But
there.
those trails, you have to have landowner permission, I believe, to go over, to have those trails there.
well, right, I mean, that part of that is, yes, you, I think right now, like, the
Same.
snowmobile trail has, like, part of it goes across my property, and, you know.
You have
and
to
they-
give them permission to do that, even a
Yes.
snowmobile, and if you don't want them to go there,
Right, well, that's what was gonna happen when they kept coming down through my yard.
there you go.
You know, hey, hello, no, the trail is
I
that
could-
way, not down through this way.
I can tell you from my experience upon like that, you go, there's trails go in, like you go to New Durham,
Mhm.
you can walk from top of Mount Jesse right to New Durham.
Right,
So, I mean, there's all kinds of good trails up.
Well, I think we ought to investigate that
Yeah.
before we,
Yeah, I
I
agree.
would,
And I know there's a snowmobile trail that cuts across the New Durham,
Yeah,
or the Middle
yes.
Turnpike comes across like that, because
Yep.
Chief Lawrence and his girlfriend just bought a piece of property, that trail comes right beside it,
right.
so.
yeah, on,
New Durham
New
Road.
Durham
Yeah,
Road. There's also a trail that goes through Mr. Terrio's property.
Yes, that's the one that
Yes.
comes down across from 153, across
Yep.
from Pleasant Valley, and you
Yep.
can get down to the Milton Three. You can get to, the pit there that, gosh.
Oh,
It's-
on the 125.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
can't think of who owns the pit, and I know who it is.
David Pay?
No, it's not David Pay, it's further down, it's
That's
right
all.
before the Farm Museum. You turn in right before the Farm Museum.
Eastern.
East, yes,
Right.
yes. But then you can get to like the Milton Three Ponds, you go down, you can go down over, right by Two Johns, cut across there, and you can get to, but you can get, I think, down there that.
So, it's a hell of a system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So,
Okay, I will let them know.
All right.
not a no, it's just, we want to check.
No, I'll just say, because they gotta research.
I have one other question, then we'll go to public participation or anything that anybody else has. Laura, I'm looking at the dates for our next Board of Selectmen. July 2nd,
Yeah,
July 4th is a Wednesday.
yeah.
Anybody have any idea when they're making it a 3-day weekend, or they're not?
They're not,
We're
you just
not.
have them, you just have that day off,
Unless it's
That
Wednesday
day.
off.
Unless the holiday falls, if it falls on Saturday, Sunday. If it falls on Sunday, we usually give Monday off. If it falls on Saturday, we usually give Friday off.
Right,
Okay, that's the way that's the way we've done it, so.
okay, so we're
So,
good.
if it's in the middle of the week,
We have
no
that day
weekend, extra weekend days off.
Public participation or other things that we have forgotten.
Chief Blodgett had something.
Fire at will,
Uh,
please.
I just wanted to address with the board the disorderly residence ordinance you guys passed back in December. And I just wanted to suggest a real minor change to it, if you guys were willing to consider it. Under the definitions of disorderly activities, it currently says situations created within or the immediate vicinity of a building. Just for a case we're working on now, I think if we could remove the immediate vicinity, I think if you leave it as create within the vicinity of a building, it still serves the same purpose, but it doesn't restrict us as much. And our thought is if you have some place like the lake communities, you have a residence that's a bunch of partiers, not only are they partying at their property, but they may also go down to the beach and smash beer bottles and cause problems. So it will allow this ordinance to apply to this people at that residence causing problems at the beach as well. Or if you have somebody like kids with four-wheelers, they ride through the neighborhoods down there, even if they're not at their house, they're still in the vicinity of their house. You can-
Immediate is too
I
specific.
feel immediate, attorney might argue, well, this isn't the immediate vicinity of the house, it's, 2 blocks down the road, or it's, and it's just a verbiage thing, but I think it just frees it up a little bit more.
Or even, chief, if this is the house they're in, the vacant lot next door does not go to them, is that immediate vicinity or no?
That's
It would certainly be
up for
vicinity,
interpretation,
right.
If you leave it just as vicinity,
Right.
it just kinda, it still has the same,
All right, excuse me.
I don't know if you want to listen to this,
Yeah, I-
just want to pass it, I just highlighted at the bottom there, so just literally just move the word immediate, I think it would help us with enforcement.
I'm pretty familiar with this.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay.
I don't have a problem with it.
Make a motion.
Motion to eliminate the word immediate,
Go ahead, sir.
disorderly,
What's the ordinance number? There isn't a number.
disorderly residence ordinance.
There'll be a number.
Yeah, adopted December 4th.
Let me get numbers.
Which was adopted December 4th, 2017. Okay,
Make a motion that we,
Make the recommendations of the chief of police on amending the.
disorderly residence ordinance, under number 2 definitions, under disorderly activities, strike the word immediate from that sentence, paragraph.
Second.
okay, discussion from anyone? Everybody knows what we're talking about. It was passed 6 months ago, whatever it was. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good?
Laura, you want that?
Chief?
If you guys want, I'm gonna take off, I got stuff to do.
Yep.
You sit here all the time for that?
It's something we need to get done, so, appreciate it.
All right,
Have a good night. Thank you.
See you, chief.
Take care.
You can tell them next time. Speak it first and just do it first, and sit through it. Stuff to do. All right, anything else, public participation? Any new topics that we haven't gone through?
Just that we'll be presenting an award, a representative from the recreation, I'm gonna give you this copy to take for you for free. Thanks to the efforts of the fire department, their boot drive, giving us $400, $100 from DePrizio GMC Trucks, and donations from various parties in town. The award presented Thursday night will be in the amount of $750 for the scholarship fund. The funds will be held in abeyance until she completes her first semester, at which point a check will be cut, and depending on the approval of everyone, we pretty much decided that she can use it for whatever she needs, whether it be books, tuition, personal expenses, whatever.
Who was
Very
the
good.
recipient of it, Joanne?
She has been notified, as
Oh,
far
okay.
as I know, that the letters were supposed to go out the 31st, so it's no longer a secret, it is Sarah Shaw. Okay?
Yes.
And the system is in place for next year. System with the recreation committee,
Oh, so
the
once,
program,
once we
the box.
once we modify the box and put it out, every person that doesn't pay their taxes will be expected to put at least $1.
which should be helpful when next year.
$1, I thought not asking a whole lot.
Is it your intention to offer a second-year scholarship to the same person, or they're on their own for years 2, 3, and 4?
That's up to the recreation committee, but it was my hopes to have a scholarship award for a graduating high school senior each year.
Give them all a chance.
And if we can get more than $750 each year, maybe we can give like 2 $500 ones, or God knows the sky is the limit if we can get people to just,
I'm also to understand that this is also for trade schools too.
It's finished. Anybody who applies for it.
But
so far the criteria set up by the scholarship committee is that they be a resident, that they be graduating from Middleton, that they have a letter of recommendation from either a counselor, teacher, professional person, minister. Not much else that's required, you know, a letter from themselves saying what their plans are. They can use it for trade school. If they're going to work at a garage and they need uniforms, fine. They need tools to work in a metal shop or something like that. We had
Good.
12 people that could have applied for it, graduating from the school, and of course, it's also open to homeschoolers.
Right.
So was it
Alright.
a specific DePrizio or just DePrizios?
I'm sorry?
Was it
She
which
said
DePrizio?
Prezio's GMC.
GMC? I just wanna make sure I get it right.
And you
It's in the
said,
letter, and I'll send you a copy of it.
you said 12 graduating seniors. If a Middleton student were to attend St. Thomas Aquinas, and they be graduating, are they included in this?
It's a graduating high school senior.
Oh, yes.
They don't have to
You
go
gotta
to Kingswood.
specify from where.
How do we go from 20 plus in the elementary down to only 12 graduating? I understand if you don't count the ones in private school, but that's a pretty significant drop from what we started out with, the elementary schools here to graduating.
Isn't that indicative of today's dropout rate?
No, I don't think
No, I
so.
don't think so.
It's a
A lot of
cycle.
kids
It's a
take-
cycle.
Yeah, that could be.
A lot of kids take 5 years to get through, but that's pretty low rate, that's what,
How many do
60?
we send to high school? You know, how many students we send? Remember, that's a
12.
lot of grades, that's 7 through 12.
Oh, right, I don't know how many is total.
Each succeeding year may have more or less than the previous year, so.
Right. By 12 seems like it's.
Yeah, this year's 12, yet next year maybe 20,
Seems
or
like
maybe
12.
10, you know?
Maybe not.
Yeah. Okay.
People move in, move out.
I'm
All right.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Absolutely. Second.
740.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was pretty
That's
good.
it. Thank you.
Pretty quick.
Oh.